The Incredibles is probably one of the best animated movies ever made, period. A movie about embracing your own individual talents and allowing yourself to be exceptional because you are different from everyone else. But if we change the perspective from the hero of the story, Bob, a man who turns to a life of crime after deposing a CEO when all he wanted to do was just help people, to the villain of the story, Buddy, it becomes a story of a kid that really just wanted to level the playing field between regular humans and the genetic elites. But to understand this, let me just put you in his shoes. Now, imagine for a minute that you are Buddy, aka Syndrome, and once Incrediboy, a young, ambitious innovator who dared to dream of standing alongside his heroes without any particular power, only to be cruelly dismissed by the man he looked up to most. You were not born with powers, but with ingenuity, resourcefulness, and determination, you managed to actually compete with these guys a little bit. At least you built some rocket boots. Yet this brilliance is always disregarded because you don't quite fit the mold of what society deems a hero. And your actions, while extreme, they stem from a deep-seated desire to equalize the playing field and create a world where greatness isn't limited by genetics or birthright. A world where greatness isn't gate-kept just because you were born into it.
Everyone's special, Dash, which is another way of saying no one is.
And a long time ago, you were out chasing your greatest hero, Mr. Incredible. And I mean, he is the greatest hero there is. He's tough, he's strong, he's courageous, everything you want to be. And you want to be a psychic more than anything else in the world. So you try and you follow him with your jet-powered boots, which you invented basically as a kid, which is insane, and to be honest, they're kind of sick. And you're a kid that literally can fly without powers. But anyway, Mr. Incredible doesn't seem to accept that fact.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
And despite your best attempts, what did he do? Well, he tossed you into a police car and sent you home to your mum. Okay, sure, there might have been a bomb involved. And that bomb might have been attached to your cape, and he might have tried to, pull it off of you, and as a byproduct, that bomb ended up blowing up a railway, and then Mr. Incredible hurt a bunch of people. That kind of led to the legal downfall of superheroes. But hey, that wasn't your fault or anything. Mr. Incredible should be thanking you for the unintended consequences of your own brilliance and the fact that he now is retired. Anyway, but after all that, the superhero thing, they go away for a little while. And so you decide, well, I'm just going to invent some weapons and become your own superhero. So over the years, you study hard, you get good grades and graduate with an honors in engineering. This is all speculation, by the way, this is not canon. And eventually you get a job at Lockheed Martin where you develop your own magical techno bullshit. After a few years at Lockheed Martin, you land a few shady deals and become hideously wealthy, eventually setting up shop on No Man's Island, a small chunk of land near Rapa Nui, a point of which where you absolutely did steal their moais. And through the years, you came up with your own manifesto. With all the supers out there out of commission, you kind of want to bring them back, but specifically you want to bring yourself into the limelight. And then a little while later, you give your technology to everyone else. You want to have your moment in the sun. And then you want everyone else to have their moment in the sun too, But of course, you always save the best for you. Still, you need a weapon. Something so terrifying that if you ever beat it, the world will just straight up listen to you. Little did they know that Syndrome is short for Hero Syndrome, and you're about to go full Lucy Letby on their asses. But to develop this technology, you figure the best guinea pigs are actually the retired superheroes, because what better way of developing a all-terrifying, all-powerful Megabot than if it can actually defeat every single superhero in the world. And your objective is to create an AI so powerful it would make ChatGPT look like a toy, but also defeat Mr. Incredible. And you'll finally get revenge for what he did to you. So you send your girlfriend to go find the coolest superhero in the world, and that is Frozone. But in her attempts, she actually finds Mr. Incredible. And, after 30 hero deaths, It's finally time to put it to the ultimate test. You then find out he works for an insurance company, and he's evidently not so happy about that fact. And you come up with a genius idea to give the insurance company an AI system that would automatically deny claims without any human intervention whatsoever. Surely that would tip Mr. Incredible over the edge and he would fully rebel. No, actually, that's probably a bit too evil. And luckily, Mr. Incredible fully goes savage mode. You don't have to implement such a heinous act. And I mean, he ends up tossing the CEO through like 5 walls, and how the hell did he not kill that guy? Jesus Christ, that guy must be super himself. Maybe you should test the robot on him. But with this, your plan is set into motion, and Mirage lays the seed for Mr. Incredible to come to your island. And I mean, he accepts instantly, there's no convincing necessary. And you almost loathe how easy it is for him to accept. He's so upset with how mundane regular life is that he's willing to forsake his family at the drop of a hat and go gallivanting on a tropical island he knows nothing about. And people worship this guy? Well, it's good news for you. Now he can end up like the rest of the other superheroes, and you're almost genociding the entire species at this point. And when he gets there, he's a bit different to what you remember him being. The dude is built a bit like your hero Elon Musk, only looking more like a half-melted ice cream than a fridge. And that outfit really didn't do much for his ass. He does manage to handedly beat your robot by forcing it to kill itself after a brief kerfuffle. And I mean, he's actually pretty smart with how he did it, even if he did throw his back in the middle of the fight and your idiot robot put it back in for him. But hey ho, that's why you do this stuff, to get the kinks out of your robot, and it can be the best it possibly can when it's taking over the world.
Surprising. We must bring him back. Sound the all clear and invite him to dinner.
And you watch the dinner unfold, and he's low-key flirting with your girlfriend. Like, the dude's married, right? I know she's supposed to be kind of doing that, but whatever. It lays the seed for him to come back, and now you can develop your robot to kick his ass. And you pay him handsomely. And just like any human being, he spends all of his windfall on toys that will make him happy. If he wants to go gallivanting with toys, well, then he can enjoy his last few weeks on the planet. So you get to work upgrading your new robot, and you basically do a full overhaul. And by the time Mr. Incredible comes back,
it's better! Ladies and gentlemen, it's too much for Mr. Incredible!
and you almost sneer at the new costume. It makes him look ridiculous. For one, there's no cape. You would think a guy like Mr. Incredible would want a cape. Capes are cool, they're fantastic, they're amazing, they make you look awesome. And that outfit really doesn't do anything for his ass at all. That's even worse than the previous one, actually. But at least he's a little bit more in shape now, even if that didn't translate to his legs. And now it's time for the big dramatic reveal. You know, since you have him completely under your thumb.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe...
I mean, he is good. He's clearly a superhero. He knows if he keeps you talking, you're probably going to defeat yourself eventually. But you're not like his old nemesises or Nemesis I. You are a new breed of nemesis. You are smart. You are calculated. So no more monologuing. They don't get it. These supers are all the same. They treat regular humans like dirt. They think they are morally superior and outright better because they were born with innate gifts. It's not fair. You don't get born into power. You create the power. You become the power. And while you're here to challenge that status quo of genetic superiority, and you're here to be what Nietzsche called an Übermensch. But this time you're Syndrome. Ah, damn, you even start monologuing in your own head. Well, with that lapse in judgment, you accidentally tossed him away and he got away. You know, with a little cheeky bomb here and a little scan of the same place where Gazerbeam did his Gandhi impression reveals that there is no sign of life at all, and Mr. Incredible is just a schmuck. So you go back to preparing your theatrics. Once you set loose this robot on the rest of the world, you will finally have the respect that you deserve, and finally show the world that normal people can be super, just as much as those born with their genetic talents. Sure, people might say this is a bit dishonest, but you know, these heroes, they've been white knighting all over the place, while systematically undermining a regular human's existence just because they don't have powers is cruel, and just shows how little they think about the regular person. Honestly, as you're working, like, you're a tad disappointed that Mr. Incredible got his ass beat so easily. Like, imagine that. The Mr. Incredible dying to a small explosive. That's kind of cringe, bro. At least Gazerbeam went out in a metal way. and starved himself under a rock or something. Then a little while later, your intruder alarm goes off and you find out old Mr. Incredible still has been snooping around. And I mean, you kind of got to respect that. The dude is the size of a small SUV and he managed to sneak and hide behind the corpse of a dead body without being seen. He's a little bit metal himself actually. And you can appreciate your idealization of him before wasn't completely unfounded.
Oh man! I'm still geeking out about it! And then he had to just go and ruin the ride. I mean, Mr. Incredible calling for help?
I mean, okay, never mind. If he's calling for help, then he's probably not the Mr. Incredible that you know and love. Mr. I work alone. And now he's just some has-been in a suit.
Do know these people. Oh, well then, I'll send them a little greeting.
Well, that'll do with that. And I mean, they are rather mundane heat-seeking missiles, but you know, they still do the job, and the Middle East hasn't stopped complaining about them since America started using it on them. So you decide to tease him a little bit, right? I mean, he's deserved it. And he manages to overpower your containment thing and almost grab you, but luckily your body pillow just jumped in the way of you. And well, that's surprising because you honestly thought that she was just here for your money and prestige. She didn't actually care about you at all, but it turns out, well, she kind of did. I mean, you were pushing above your weight with the looks thing, at least like a little bit, you know? Did he really think that would just work on you? Like, is he an idiot? I mean, it's either really a win-win because either way you call his bluff and you prove that he's not the hero that he thinks he is, or of course he's bluffing and typical hero stuff, thinking that they're better than us just because they choose not to kill a human. Either way, eesh. So you set about getting your launch ready. Why you decided to continue the launch and not just murder the guy? Well, that's an interesting point. Mainly it's because you decided that you wanted to rub it in his face a little bit and show him that he is truly powerless before you and you can do whatever you want. The man of infinite strength, reduced to nothing by a nerd he shunned. This is what poetry was made for. But then your girlfriend gets upset that, you called Mr. Incredible's bluff, and it's like, holy shit, lady, we knew he wasn't gonna do it, and you saved her life, really. Like, Jesus Christ, some people,
Can you gamble? Bet your own life.
And you launch the rocket, which goes smoothly, which is to be expected. Your rocket ships are the best in the world. Then something catches your eye. There's a commotion on the island, and Mr. Incredible is there. How the hell did he escape from the chains? And it's so hard to find good minions these days. So you stop by unannounced and you show them who's boss with your 0-point energy thing, which is seriously some techno magical bullshit. And you show them that technology is superior to genes any day of the week. But really, you can't help but marvel Elastigirl. Holy shit, this girl got all of the arse in the family. She's making Mr. Incredible look really pathetic. Maybe he needs to do some more squats. Anyway, you lock them up again, and you hope they would escape this time, and you give them front row tickets to your show. And after that, they can all die together or something, whatever.
I'm real enough to defeat you!
Of course, you want to have a little bit of fun first. And after all, you've been marginalized your entire life. You are ginger, you are intelligent, you are a nerd. People haven't treated you kindly. And you had to work for every scrap you could get. You had to work your ass off. And you weren't raised in a perfect family. You weren't worshipped. But now is your time. Now is your time to be worshipped.
And when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my invention so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
So you go to that city and you start your theatrics to save the world. And it all goes smoothly until the robot knocks off your bracelet. Maybe you made the AI a bit too smart. Maybe you should have gone back to OpenAI to make it a little bit worse. And then it knocks you out cold. When you wake up, you see the Incredibles stealing your thunder. And so you do what any genius does, and you decide that your plans are up in smoke. So you pivot, and there's only one way to solve your problems, and that is to steal Mr. Incredible's youngest child and become its mentor. Oh, well, fuck it. Straight up, might as well become a cartoon villain now. May as well. You could just go back and do the auto-denial on the healthcare stuff. Like, that would probably make you an equivalent amount of money. But sure, let's go full cartoon villain. Let's kidnap a child now. Why not? I mean, like, the government has stolen all of your assets, so what else can you do? So much for innocent until proven guilty, because you would have demolished these guys in court, or at least dragged it out to the point where you won by default. So anyway, yeah, you still Jack, because, yeah, you're too far gone, I guess. Like, okay, and you figured he'd make a good sidekick? Sure, why not? I mean, your justifications up until this point were pretty solid, pretty founded in something at least, but now you're full crazy, full psychotic, and all reasoning is out the window. You are in full lunacy mode. And you kidnap the child and he goes full beast on your ass, and Mr. Incredible chucks his car into your jet and you get sucked into the thing, and you lost to a literal crotch goblin, and you finally realize why Mr. Incredible doesn't have capes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if you like the video, please give it a like and comment which villain you'd like to see next. I just want to shout out my members, especially my new partner, Jay, and of course, Lavender, Yuri, and Alan. Thank you, have a great day, and have a great life.